The McStay family murder. The McStays seemed like the epitome of the American dream family. The 4-year-old Gianni and the 3-year-old Joey Jr. were the light of their father, Joseph Sr.'s, who had raven hair, and Summers, who had blonde hair, lives. They were well liked by their community, took many vacations together, and delighted in watching their young sons develop and mature. They suddenly disappeared in February 2010. This is the murder case of the McStay family. But before I start, I would like you to drop a like to this video and subscribe to this channel. The family had recently relocated to Fallbrook, California, but disappeared before moving in. In 2010, remodeling was in progress at the site. Joseph ran an enterprise that specialized in creating unique water features. During the summer, Summer was a realtor. Together, they raised Gianni, now 4, and Joseph Jr., then 3. Joseph's firstborn son was a boy named Jonah McStay, who he had with his first wife. After nearly 4 years of silence, the bodies of the parents and their 2 young children were discovered in shallow graves in the Mojave Desert by an off-road motorcycle. After the McStay family vanished from their home in Fallbrook, California, United States, on or around February 4, 2010, their bodies were discovered in the desert outside Victorville, California, on November 13, 2013. The national news media covered their disappearance extensively. The police promptly issued a search warrant. According to the investigation, the family looked to have fled their house in Fallbrook, California rapidly. They had forgotten about the eggs and other food on the counter. It seemed like they had to leave immediately for something, according to the investigation team. There was no indication of a fight. Michael reported him missing, but it turned out that days previously, authorities had towed the family's Isuzu Trooper from a parking lot near the Mexico border. The length of time that passed between when the McStays vanished and when their disappearance was reported made the case particularly difficult to solve. There was no communication with the family for 11 days before a report was sent. On February 4, 2010, the last known video of the family alive was caught by a neighbor's security camera. Investigators followed a false trail of evidence caused by cell phone calls, the car's position, and other discoveries. Joseph McStay's business partner, Charles Chase Merritt, was arrested and subsequently charged with the murders on November 7, 2014. The trial began in San Bernardino on January 7, 2019. Merritt was found guilty of murdering the McStay family by a jury on June 10, 2019. The date of his execution has been set for January 21, 2020. The McStay family's 1996 Isuzu Trooper was first suspected to have been stolen after a neighbor's CCTV system caught the vehicle's undercarriage on camera on February 4, 2010, at 7:47 p.m. The people inside the car were not visible in the security footage. Joseph called his business partner, Charles Chase Merritt, on his cell phone at 8:28 p.m., but Charles's message machine picked up instead. Merritt later explained to police that he had been watching a movie at the time of the voicemail. Joseph's phone contacted a Fallbrook tower. Family members of the McStays spent the next few days desperately trying to get in touch with them, but to no avail. On the 13th of February, Michael, Joseph's brother, went to the McStay house and entered through a back window. Michael discovered no one at home and the 2 dogs occupying the backyard. After Michael's brother and his family went missing on February 15th, he called the San Diego County Sheriff's Department, SDSD. On February 19, 2010, police were dispatched to the residence, and a search warrant was subsequently executed. A search of the house turned up no signs of a struggle or murder, but there were hints of a fast exit. 2 kid-sized bowls of popcorn were left on the couch, and a carton of eggs was left on the counter. The family's Dodge Trooper was removed from a strip mall parking lot in San Isidro, San Diego, near the Mexican border, at approximately 11 p.m. on February 8th. It was most likely left there between 5:30 and 7 o'clock that night. Between February 4th and February 8th, the car's whereabouts are a mystery. Nothing suspicious was discovered, just spoiled food and Mrs. McStay's prescription specs. When he reported them missing on the 15th, authorities found out that the McStay's car had been towed from a property near the Mexican border on the 8th. Travel-related Google searches were also discovered on the family's computer, lending credence to the idea that they had visited Mexico. The McStay family resembles one caught on camera by the San Diego Sheriff's Department as they crossed the border into Mexico. For a long time, that was the accepted wisdom among police enforcement. It wasn't until November 2013 that the bodies were discovered in the desert beside the sledgehammer that authorities suspect was used in the killings. Merritt was arrested the next year when he was linked to Mr. McStay's custom waterfall business. He had been skimming money from the business and had a criminal record to boot. As the inquiry progressed, it was also discovered that Mr. McStay's final phone contact had been to Merritt, whose cell phone had pinged near a tower in the desert close to where the shallow graves were located. The prosecution claims Merritt murdered the McStays because he found out that Mr. McStay was cutting him out of business and that the victim had complained to acquaintances about Merritt's poor work and theft. In the documentary, Merritt vehemently rejects this scenario and insists that he was the one who first raised the alarm about the McStays' disappearance. However, he was found guilty in June 2019 and given a death sentence in January 2020. However, the new series revealed that an incredible number of other people had also had serious encounters with the McStays. There was Mrs. McStay's ex-boyfriend who emailed the single mother of two shortly before they vanished, declaring his love for her forever. He was a local resident who had been arrested for making death threats against a woman and her daughter. The new spouse of Mr. McStay's ex-wife was a violent man who had allegedly threatened to muzzle Mrs. McStay and had previously beaten up her husband. Another co-worker of Mr. McStay's was the tech whiz who managed the company website. This individual had spoken with Mr. McStay, effectively threatening to destroy the site and bring the company to its knees. How the culprit was caught. After finding Merritt's DNA in the McStay's car, officers from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department arrested him on November 5, 2014, in connection with their killings. On November 7, 2014, news of his arrest was made public. The district attorney requested the death penalty for Merritt, who was accused of 4 counts of murder. Due to the vague nature of the charges brought against Merritt, his attorney requested the dismissal of the case in July 2015. All 4 victims were beaten to death with a blunt object, according to the arrest warrant affidavits filed in the case. The tomb where Summer and her son were found had a 3-pound sledgehammer, which investigators thought to be the murder weapon. According to the testimony gathered, investigators have concluded that the victims were tortured before their deaths. Merritt, the prosecution claims, had a gambling addiction and killed the McStays for their money. They claim that in the days following the murders, he signed checks totaling over $21,000 from Joseph's business account and subsequently lost thousands of dollars gambling at local casinos. Because Merritt had frequently fired his lawyers or tried to represent himself in court, the trial was postponed. He had already gone through 5 lawyers by February 2016. A meeting to select a date for the start of the trial was scheduled for February 23 in 2018. In a motion filed in San Bernardino Superior Court on April 7, 2018, Merritt's attorney argued that Joseph's financial and business documents were inadmissible hearsay. The trial was set to begin in July 2018. However, it was postponed on May 4th. On January 7, 2019, opening statements were made in the San Bernardino courtroom where the trial was set to begin. A San Bernardino County jury found Merritt guilty of killing the McStays on June 10, 2019. The jury unanimously approved Merritt's death sentence on June 24th. Smith had Merritt sent to San Quentin State Prison pending the setting of an execution date. Since 2006, no one has been put to death in California. During his administration, Governor Gavin Newsom suspended the death penalty. This is the end, folks. Make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to this channel because you don't want to miss out on the other amazing videos we have.